This time on Average Kira playing Apex Legends, we are taking a good look at the Rampage LMG, the new weapon for Apex Legends Season Emergence, and specifically I want to find out where this gun fits in the game as the fourth LMG with very different mechanics, and definitely it's got a slower fire rate, does high damage per bullet. However, it does have the charge up mechanic with the thermite grenade, and I also want to therefore find out which legends this is going to be the best to pair with, because for example the only other weapon that's got a charge up mechanic is of course the Sentinel, and that's actually really powerful to put with Watson because she's a setup sniper type sort of holder building down legend anyway, and she doesn't actually need her shield cells because she has auto regen on her shield, so she goes really well with the Sentinel, for example. So the Rampage LMG though, which is this lovely thing on the end here, so I'd love to see that we've now got some more heavy weapons, by the way. Lovely to see there, considering we've now got, less, oh, of course, because we only have 5 light weapons now. For the first time ever we have more heavy weapons than light weapons because the alternator got put into the care package. So let's pick up the Rampage. So here it is. So let's put on some let's go over my settings quickly, and I don't often do this enough. I think I have no music playing apparently. Wow, no music for the firing range, that's fine. Anyway, Rampage, so normally you pick it up off the ground, it's got a 28 mag, and it does 28 to the body, 42 to the head. Now the only weapon, the closest weapon in terms of damage I can think of per bullet, probably the G7. 26. Oh, it's been nerfed slightly, and then 60 to the dome. Okay, so in terms of body damage, doing 34, and the Rampage is doing 28 and 42. Also, I want to check out the fire rate between the two. So the Rampage obviously is known now that it's got G7, very, very slightly slower. Let's see if we can find another weapon that does similar damage to the Rampage that we can compare this with. 16, nowhere near. I mean, headshot, yes. Actually, what about a bow check? My bow check, is that still like 60 damage? So without charging up the bow check, I guess that's kind of okay. Did the bow check get buffed? 105 to the head, and it's way slower than the Rampage. Okay, so not the bow check. So this is where it's actually worth talking about the Rampage in terms of the rest of the meta, because it's pretty unique in terms of where it sits in the meta, because it's very hard to compare with other guns. It seems to have managed to find this kind of niche area in the game where nothing really does the same kind of damage to it naturally, like just off the ground, but at the same time it's then sitting in between every other weapon really, because it's got just slightly faster rate than everything that does more damage than it. I mean, possibly bar the G7, I guess, depending how you want to use this. And at the same time though, everything else that does fire faster than it does nowhere near as much damage per bullet. So that's going to be kind of interesting. The Hemlock, I mean, per bullet maybe. Good to see the Prowler back as well. Oh my god, this thing's insane. Prowler's insane. Anyway, so the Rampage is a really unique gun, and I'm kind of, I feel like it's just like it's a bit like a Hemlock on single fire, but instead of you having to press the trigger finger all the time, you just hold the trigger down. So it's got the same kind of fire rate as you can achieve with a single fire Hemlock, but a hell of a lot more damage. And as it's an LMG, you can put a 3-scope on it. You can't put anything higher than a 3-scope in terms of putting on a 48 or anything. It will sniper only. But, I mean, with a 3-scope, this could be pretty brutal. Because again, if we go back to the G7, we stick a 3-scope on that. You can fire faster, I think, than you can with the G7. I mean, you'd have to have a really quick trigger finger. It's got quite a bit of recoil actually without a barrel stabilizer. Whereas the Rampage from range is just... I can see that doing some pretty decent damage. Bearing in mind as well, this is all... the way we're talking about this, we haven't actually tried putting in a thermite grenade yet. And that's going to completely change this gun. So pick up a couple of thermites. And this is also where we have to talk about Legends, because in the same way that Watson doesn't have to use shield cells because she has auto regen with the Sentinel, Fuse, for example, is not going to need to use thermite so much because his tactical is a grenade launcher anyway, and he carries more grenades naturally. They stack in his inventory than with anybody else. So that's where. So let's get Fusey. Let's get Fusey. Here he is.
Back in the fight, fellas.
Okay, so he can carry a lot more grenades. So you can see they 2-stack. So I can carry 4 instead of just 2 there. So it means he's going to be able to charge this up more often. Let's see how long the charge lasts as well. That's worth knowing. So there's that. There's his thermite grenade in his arm. And you press the other way to put it on the Rampage. And there's the charge revved up. And it doesn't look like it naturally drops. Like the Sentinel's charge. Oh, it's dropping now very slowly. Okay. Oh my, that's insane. It still does the same damage. I don't think it does any extra damage. No extra damage, but that's insane. That's okay. It's no longer. I mean, now it would like, and you can still single fire as well. It doesn't accidentally go into auto fire. And that's without it. So when it's got the charge up, it then becomes, I mean, 28 damage per bullet with a fire rate of maybe, let's check the flatline's fire rate. No, it's not as fast as that. Maybe more like a, what is it? Let's just charge this up again. See what we compare it to. No, it's not as fast as a flatline. Maybe it's more like I guess it becomes the Spitfire. I guess, but the Spitfire's in the care package, so no, it's definitely still not as fast as the Spitfire. The Spitfire still has faster fire rate even with the charge up. So not the Spitfire. It's again hard to judge where this sits in terms of. Maybe it's as fast as an L. No, the L-Star's pretty quick now. We got buffed. We will find where this gun fits in the meta now, especially with an LMG meta going on. No, that's pretty fast. That's like SMG. Devotion, I guess, without a turbocharger. Early Devotion charge before it gets into its charge state, I guess, is where it kind of is where that fits. That's crazy. That's pretty crazy. And if you put an extended heavy mag on this, you have 40 rounds, so not the biggest chamber in terms of LMGs, but I mean, you can just keep firing that all day long. And because the fire rate is slower, even if you miss shots, like, you're going to do some serious damage with this. And carrying lots of thermites then is obviously you're going to be absolutely fine, because they're not exactly hard to find. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I think I want to try this gun out. So for Fuse it really works because of the thermite grenades. I'm just going to check something out with Rampart, because not only does she have faster reloads. Anyway. Oh, that's insane. Like, So Rampart has the faster LMG reload, and she has more ammo in the mag anyway, now 46 instead of 40 as if he needed the extra 6. That's crazy. I'm going to put down a wall. But we'll put one in front of here as well. Protect the dummy! We'll do a little test here. So without being charged up, obviously it does 28 to that. And then through Rampart's shield, 34. 34 through there, wow. What's the headshot on with Rampart's thing? 51 to the head. I mean, that's getting dangerously close to maybe like the wingman or something. Charged up, we're still doing 28, but now, oh my god, against like other Ramparts, even without Rampart's own thing, so this weapon then becomes good against Rampart as well as being used by Rampart. Wow, so it's not like... So people have to start running Ramparts to beat other Ramparts. It's going to be like the Caustic situation, but possibly a bit less annoying because it's not like literally as toxic. Pun totally intended. So that's where that sits. And then who else would it be good with? I guess Loba is able to find grenades quite easily and find attachments. I guess Gibraltar's gun shield gives you the extra time to deal with the slower fire rate. That's kind of it, I suppose. Yeah, so I think either Rampart or Fuse obviously are going to really do well with this gun. So if you want to carry more thermites, pick Fuse. If you want to do more damage, obviously pick Rampart. And that's pretty much where it goes. In terms of weapons as well, it seems to sit between... Ah, man. Maybe between something like an else. Yeah. It's like just before you go into marksman territory. So you'd have like a marksman above it, because the marksman does more damage per bullet. And if you're going to use a gun from range, then you might as well use a marksman. But the Rampage has the close-up capability and the charge up with the thermite, so that's where it has the advantage of the marksman. But if you're going for range, the marksman's still going to be better if you're fighting from range. And then up close and personal, the fire rate's quite slow, but if you do manage to hit all of your shots, you're probably still going to win quite a few fights. I think you're going to have to come up against somebody with like an R99, maybe something like a Volt or a Havoc even, maybe, to beat you and for them to hit their shots as well, obviously, to then counteract the fact you've got the slower fire rate. Or even maybe an L-Star would be better than it. I mean, the L-Star's probably a little bit better, especially it's got the new hop-up as well. Not the hop-up, it's got the... Is it the stock now that comes with the... You know, it has the engine back now, so then how many can you do with the gold? So I can't... Wow. So that was 31 bullets instead of 25. So you get an extra 6. But you don't need, like... There's no automatic gold cooldown. I think the L-Star is still, like, without the thermite charge up, probably still a better LMG to pick up, especially now the Spitfire's gone into the care package. The L-Star's where it's at, but the Rampage is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. It's good for destroying stuff, and good for door destruction. That was the other thing we were going to check out. Let's go to Watson,
Good to be back.
and let's build some stuff so that we can see what the Rampage can do. We're going to finish off by seeing what the Rampage can do to a Watson sort of siege and then we'll end it there. So if you're still watching this one, you will see what it does to Watson. I'm sorry what it's potentially about to do. And if you're a Watson main, I know you really needed that buff, which they've decided is a complete waste of time.
Eye of the storm. In position. Setting a fence.
So we have, if you see a Watson set up somewhere, you're at Rampage. Okay, I can't destroy my own, can I? No, you can't. Wow, Watson cannot destroy her own pylons. She can destroy her own thing, though. In the firing range, or everywhere. Okay, so that got rid of the generator pretty damn quickly. Because it's faster fire rate than a marksman. Just slightly.
My ultimate is charged and good to go.
So, in that sense,
Shasha. No more storms.
if you are trying to take out a Watson team from up height, I mean, we seem just to destroy a thing. Let's put a thermite grenade in this as well, and you have plenty of time to do it before because it lasts quite a while. I mean, that's brutal. And it'd be like, bam, dead, dead, dead. You know what, from range, this is not bad. There's the other targets. Wow, there's not actually much bullet drop either. There is very little bullet drop. You could use this as a marksman potentially still, but it'd be like the lowest damage marksman. So I guess it kind of does the same job as the wingman, but then you'd have a wingman. So it's not going to completely take over the meta, I don't think, but it's definitely going to be in there. It's definitely going to be worth getting good with. However, if you want to be like super good at this game, probably stick with like an L-Star if you really want to use an LMG. If you put like again like a 3-scope on this, because again you can still use this from range, but it's just harder to single fire and it only does 18 damage per bullet. But there is no bullet drop because it's an energy weapon. So it's harder to use some range. And with the kind of damage that it's doing, you kind of want to beam people with it, which is quite hard to do. Whereas the Rampage, you know, you can hit her. It's slightly better, especially later into the mag as well. The recoil becomes a little bit easier to manage, so worth learning. I think it's a good all-round gun. It's a good all-round gun. That's what I think this is. This is the LMG that is literally replacing the Spitfire in terms of being the all-rounder that you could use in almost any situation. The only time it's going to really struggle is close quarters combat against SMGs, and that's like up close and personal really, where there's no cover or you're not able, and you're sort of just caught out in the open a bit, and it's just you be them. Especially if they see you first, they're just going to absolutely melt you with the SMG. But that's the same in any situation in any game. That's just the power of SMGs. And there we go. So like, subscribe if you like that, especially if you like the Rampage. Tell me what you think of it. I like the look of it. I like the vents on the side. I like the... You can't do a weapon inspect. Can you do the weapon inspect now? Oh, you can. It's there. So we can still do the weapon inspect now. Great. I know I said in my last video you can't, but that's apparently how you do it. So I think it looks good as a gun. Some cool animations though. There's a thermite grenade in there that I've already used, but there we go. That looks pretty cool. Thank you for watching. Remember to grow strong, learn fast, and please always be kind to everybody, even with your Rampage LMG.